Welcome to Hometown Happenings. I'm Carol McCarthy, and I'm here today with Captain Kelly Shannon and Jeff Alberts, and they are with obviously the Becker County Sheriff's Department, and we're here today to talk about the Becker County Sheriff's Auxiliary. And let's first off, Kelly, why don't you tell us a little bit about the Auxiliary, a little bit of the history of the Auxiliary.
Okay, actually it started back in about 1964, and it was under the Civil Defense at that time. Then in the mid-'70s, it was taken over by the Sheriff's Department and run from that point now, and with the Sheriff's Department basically in charge of it.
Okay. All right, and the reason that we're talking about the auxiliary is that you see a lot of auxiliary officers out and about during the summer months and all year round, I guess, is the case these days. And Jeff, what's been your experience with the auxiliary?
Oh, it's been a fantastic experience for me. I've been in it for 29 years, so I must like it. There's a lot of different experiences you can gain, and there's a lot of people that go from the auxiliary into full-time law enforcement. So there's a lot of good things about it.
What are some of the things the auxiliary does?
Work everything from snowmobile patrol in the wintertime to watching prisoners. If there's one like has to go over to the hospital for any reason. Work the fair, ride with full-time deputies doing road patrol. Lots of words now.
So you do basically the same duties as a deputy.
Yeah, we are part-time licensed, which when we are working, we have the full law enforcement things. We can arrest anybody just like a normal officer.
Okay. And you also wear a gun.
And we also wear guns.
And you're trained with guns.
Yes, we are.
Okay. All right, there's a difference, I guess. But Kelly, tell us a little bit about some of the training that the officers go through.
Well, they take all of basically the same training that full-time officers do. They have to have 48 hours of continuing education credits every 3 years to obtain their license, same as a full-time officer. But besides all of the in-house training that we give the full-time and the part-time unit, certain things that are mandatory, which is qualification with your handgun. They have to qualify every year. This is a yearly thing. They have to driving class where we put on a driving school where they have to go through cones and braking and that driving training. And the other one was use of force. They have to take a use of force class, which is 8 hours at one time too that they have to complete.
All right. Now, Kelly, your experience is unique as far as how you got into being a sheriff. You're a captain now, but how did you get into your work, your job today?
I started out as a part-time officer with the Becker County Auxiliary. That would have been back in the early 80s. And from there went to part-time jobs in other cities and other towns, and then was a deputy out in North Dakota for a few years before I came back, and then I was a police chief in Frazee for 19 years. But I started out in the auxiliary just like a lot of ours are doing now. So.
Okay, so I guess it's unique to me, but I suppose that a lot of people do get into the auxiliary and kind of decide if that's what they want to do and if they like it enough, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's correct. They use it as a stepping stone to get training and build their resumes and everything. A lot of them in our unit are eligible to be licensed full time, but you're not licensed full time until you get a full time job. So, but it's a stepping stone for them to continue with their education and their careers.
And Jeff, tell me a little bit about now your experience. Now you have a day job, obviously.
Yeah, so I'm self-employed. I work full time for myself.
Okay, so I'm sure that helps with these these busy seasons being in the auxiliary.
Yeah, it makes it nice if I had to work for somebody else and take the time off that I have to do to get things lined up for the department. I would have a tough time doing that, and my boss probably wouldn't be happy.
Are most auxiliary officers that work here, are they self-employed too, or do they have full-time jobs working for others?
The majority of them have full-time jobs working for someone else.
Okay.
So when we call them out, most of the businesses in town that they work for are pretty understanding. If we need them, they understand that they can leave without, losing their job.
I'm here today with Jeff Alberts and Captain Kelly Shannon here at the Becker County Sheriff's Department. We're talking about the Becker County Sheriff's Auxiliary and the work that they do. You will see them out quite a bit during the summer months and maybe also even in the fall and the winter. Well, for sure in the fall and the winter, but they're a little bit more obvious in the summer months. But we're going to take a quick break and be back with more Hometown Happenings after this.
Everyone's talking about it.
Wow.
Unbelievable. It's the best thing since...
cable.
Save big on the Power Play bundle. Digital television, high-speed internet, and digital phone service from Arvig Communication Systems.
That's fantastic.
Over 130 channels with in-demand pay-per-view, blazing fast internet, and feature-rich digital phone service. All for one amazing price and on one low monthly bill. Call now and let the savings begin.
Wow, sign me up. I love it.
You guys are the best.
Welcome back to Hometown Happenings. I'm Carol McCarthy here with Captain Kelly Shannon and Jeff Alberts from the Becker County Sheriff's Department. We're talking about the Becker County Sheriff's Auxiliary, and the auxiliary exists. They're all volunteers that work in the auxiliary. They're trained deputies. They train, they've got all the training full-time, part-time deputy has, paid employee, but they don't get paid. That's the volunteer. That's the key part. And Jeff, now you said you've been doing this for how long?
29 years.
Okay. And you're getting unpaid to do this?
I'm getting unpaid.
All right. So what's the draw?
Personal satisfaction, personal enjoyment, plus the fact it's a way to give back to the community in the area you live and, basically saving taxpayers a lot of money.
Okay. So, 29 years ago, did you expect to be doing it for 29 years?
No.
I'm sure you've had your ups and downs, huh?
Yeah, it's been a ride. It's I'd say 90% of the time has been good. It's been fun. The other 10% gets kind of monotonous at times. And
what are some of the more interesting things that you've done as an auxiliary officer?
Oh, a couple of the plane crashes I worked were really interesting, especially when you got to work with the Federal Aviation Administration, learning how to look for things when the plane crashed and where it was and what to do at a scene. And it was interesting, a couple of those that I've been on.
Some valuable experience then.
Yeah.
All right, and Kelly, tell us a little bit about what is the importance of having the auxiliary? What does it do for the sheriff's department and the community?
Well, there's so many things that go on that we just don't have. The full-time deputies don't have time to actually take care of. As an example, we have a crime scene that happens at midnight, and we need somebody to sit on that crime scene until the investigators and everything get there, and we'll call an auxiliary member, and they come out at midnight and sit there till 6 o'clock in the morning and don't get paid for it. So they donate probably average is around 2,500 man hours a year that they're actually donating to the county that they're not paid for. So
what would that roughly translate in dollars? I mean, I suppose it varies year to year because, pay goes up or down or whatever, but I mean, that's a considerable amount of hours.
Yeah, I mean, over 50,000 probably.
All right, and how many auxiliary officers do we have?
We have 29 members at this time, 3 females and the rest were males. So.
Okay, all right. And I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Jeff. With your experiences maybe as a sheriff, as a deputy, but as an auxiliary officer, what were some of the more interesting things what really hooked you on becoming an officer?
The very first thing when I went with auxiliary, first time I rode, we had to go out and do a search warrant in a house up north. And we had to recover some guns, and we did. We were able to recover them and everything. And I just thought, how exciting that was to, have an actual crime scene to go up there and with a search warrant. And I didn't know how they did that back then, And but I remember that one. That was one of my first cases. So. And
you never said, "I can't believe I'm not getting paid to do this." Any instances like that?
No, I wasn't in it actually that long before I did go on to a full-time position. So.
All right. Well, Captain Kelly Shannon and Jeff Alberts, thank you so much for shedding a little light on some of the behind the scenes of our local law enforcement. And one of the things too is that you not only help out the Becker County Sheriff's Office, but you also help out the city and
DL and all the rest of the city of Detroit Lakes, all the surrounding communities in Becker County. Plus, we have been called to Clay County, Monoman County. We did a little bit of work in Otter Tail County one time. So we've been called out to the surrounding counties and all the communities in the county.
All right. Well, thank you for all that you do and volunteering, and I know it's a tough job.
Certainly. Thank you.
Jeff Alberts, Captain Kelly Shannon from the Becker County Sheriff's Office. I'm Carol McCarthy for Hometown Happenings.